Wrong glasses. Good afternoon. Welcome to Business 360, your complete view of the stories driving business, markets, and the economy. I'm Apa Ongpin, and this is the Bilyonaryo News Channel. GCash owner Mynt moves to go public, filing for one of the country's most anticipated IPOs. Global oil prices slide below $80 a barrel. The electric car race is picking up speed with new players and models entering the market. We get a front seat with BusinessWorld motoring editor Kap Maceda Aguila. The Senate gets back to work on key priority bills after formally electing Sherwin Gatchalian as Senate President. And SpaceX soars past Amazon in terms of market valuation. After years of speculation, GCash parent Mynt is finally taking a concrete step towards the stock market. The fintech giant formally set its IPO process in motion with a possible listing in the second half of 2026. Sulit has that and more corporate stories.
GCash is moving closer to the trading floor, potentially giving the Philippine stock market one of its biggest new listings in years. Mynt, the Globe-backed fintech company behind GCash, has secured board and shareholder approval to file a registration statement with the Securities and Exchange Commission and an application to list on the Philippine Stock Exchange. Globe Telecom also approved the IPO-related filings, although the offering remains subject to market conditions and regulatory approval. Under the proposed offer, shares sold to the public would represent 12% of Mynt's outstanding capital stock after the IPO. The offering would combine newly issued shares with shares sold by existing investors. Each common share will have a par value of 3 centavos. Analysts are confident Mynt's potential debut brings in fresh liquidity to the market, improving investor sentiment. Dragonfly co-founder and CEO John Lim says Philippine investors are no longer choosing only among local stocks. They are also comparing them with global technology, artificial intelligence, and other fast-growing assets. Mynt could give them a way to bet on that growth here at home.
It's a more connected global economy and a more connected financial market, and investors really are searching for the asset class that will give them the greatest bang for their buck.
But while Mynt offers the market a new growth story, one of its most established blue chips is facing a very different test. Ayala Corporation recently purchased 35 million common shares at an average price of 13 pesos and 7 centavos each. The transaction was worth about 457.5 million pesos. The share purchase increases Ayala Corporation's stake in Ali at a time when the property giant's stock price has been under pressure. Traders now question whether other investors will follow.
There are some debates online whether Ali is already an attractive buy, but at this point, if there are no buyers who are willing to buy at a higher price than what you previously bought, so what's the point, diba?
Call Investment Management Portfolio Manager Serge Zandueta says Monday's rally following the US-Iran peace deal showed how quickly sentiment can turn. But for the gains to last, the domestic economy will also have to deliver. Zandueta says slow government spending remains one of the market's biggest concerns.
If the government is trying to get its act together, from what we heard anecdotally, not a lot of projects were being rolled out. Government spending was slow to pick up, so there's no velocity in.
Business groups say lower borrowing costs could provide a boost.
When interest is cheap, we can expect businesses to use debt to fund expansion na. And then consumers also, because interest is cheap, they will consume more because credit card debt will be cheaper, housing debt is cheaper, loan is cheaper.
For now, the Philippine stock market is showing signs of life. The question is whether that optimism can turn into a sustained recovery. For Business 360, Sulit, Bilyonaryo News Channel.
A resort condominium in Batangas is drawing buyers well ahead of its completion in 2027. SM Leisure Resorts and Residences says most units at Balea Suites have already been taken up. Demand came mainly from millennial and Gen X buyers from southern Metro Manila who are looking for second homes. Balea Suites is the second of 5 residential towers under the 3 billion peso Pico Terraces development inside Amilo Coast. Unit owners also get access to the Pico de Loro Beach and Country Club. A sell-off in ICTSI shares dragged the Philippine stock market lower. The PSE index closed down nearly 3%, hitting the 6,100 level. The services sector lost more than 4%. ICTSI, which had been holding up the index in recent sessions, fell more than 6%, but financials was the bright spot. BDO jumped more than 3%, while BPI and Metrobank also closed higher. Globe soared by over 5% after Mynt, the company behind GCash, moved closer to a possible stock market listing. Ayala Land also gained nearly 5% after parent company Ayala disclosed a 457 million peso share buyback. Wall Street closed mixed as investors brought back profits. The Dow hit another record high for a second straight day, while the Nasdaq and S&P 500 finished lower, dragged down by pressure on tech stocks.
It is all about the AI trade. We have seen that over and over and over again, whether it's IPOs that are coming or that have happened, and the growth that we're seeing in not just direct AI plays, but AI adjacent plays as well, including infrastructure, memory, everything along those lines.
SpaceX blasted past Amazon in terms of valuation, making it among the top 5 most valuable companies only days after its blockbuster debut. Shares of SpaceX went up by more than 14% to close at $220 per share. This gave SpaceX a market capitalization of around $2.85 trillion, higher than Amazon's $2.64 trillion. SpaceX also briefly topped Microsoft's valuation of $2.92 trillion. In the global oil market, prices are trading below $80 a barrel again, including the benchmark Brent crude. Oil prices have fallen for 3 straight trading sessions after the U.S. and Iran reached an interim peace deal that could reopen the Strait of Hormuz to shipping. The U.S.-Iran truce is taking shape as both sides move toward a formal signing. Jillian Geronimo tells us more.
The economic terms of the U.S.-Iran truce are now coming into focus. Just days before a formal signing ceremony in Switzerland Friday, Iran could resume oil sales once the agreement takes effect, with restrictions on banking, transport, and insurance also set to ease. A proposed $300 billion private investment fund is also on the table, with more than half the money reportedly already committed. But the fund would only be created after a final deal, and Iran's access would depend on accepting strict limits on its nuclear program.
Under the final agreement, decisions will be made on nuclear-related issues and the lifting of sanctions, and we will reach a comprehensive final settlement.
Trump says the deal would prevent Iran from developing a nuclear weapon, but Iran has long insisted its program is for peaceful purposes. In exchange for sanctions relief, Iran would reopen the Strait of Hormuz to oil tankers and other shipping after the key trade route was choked during the conflict. Trump says that reopening is already underway.
I'm very happy to say it's signed, the deal's all signed. And the strait is already partially opened. As you know, they're doing a little hunting for a couple of mines that they've already found. But it's essentially ships are starting to go out now. On Friday, it'll be completely opened.
The full agreement remains under wraps. U.S. lawmakers say they have yet to see the text, while shipping companies are still waiting for proof that the Strait of Hormuz is safe. Even Friday's ceremony remains fluid. Trump says he is unsure whether he will attend, with Vice President J.D. Vance originally expected to represent the U.S. Meanwhile, Israel has distanced itself from the agreement.
Well, President Trump and I know each other for many years. He is the President of the United States, and I am the Prime Minister of Israel. Many times we see eye to eye, and there are also times when we don't see eye to eye. I am responsible for Israel's security interests and I insist on them.
That leaves the agreement facing its biggest test, whether a U.S.-Iran truce can hold, while Israel insists it is not bound by the deal. Jillian Jeronimo, Bilyonaryo News Channel.
We'll have more stories for you when we return Business 360. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Business 360. I'm Apa Ongpin. The Senate's leadership deadlock is over, and Senator Sherwin Gatchalian is now the confirmed Senate President. But will it be back to business as usual? We have Hannah T on the line for the latest.
Apa, several members of the Senate minority are signaling that it's time to move forward and get back to work. While members of the former Cayetano bloc were absent from the Senate session that elected Senator Sherwin Gatchalian as Senate President, Senators Bongo, Amy Marcos, and Rodante Marcoleta are present earlier at the Commission on Appointments hearing. Marcoleta even personally congratulated Gatchalian after his election, while Senator Bongo said the Senate is a collegial body where the majority prevails, and he adds that the leadership issue is over and that senators should now focus on serving the Filipino people. For her part, Senator Amy Marcos said their camp simply wants to work and pushed back against claims that the minority had been causing trouble. Meanwhile, Senate Majority Leader Mig Zubiri said Senator Joel Villanueva's decision to join the new majority was driven by frustration over the legislative standstill of the past few weeks and his desire to see the Senate function normally again. Zubiri and Senators J.B. Ejercito both denied reports of concessions, pressure, or threats, and that Villanueva's move was rooted in his commitment to the institution and has believed that the Senate's reputation had been damaged by weeks of political infighting. Gatchalian was earlier elected as SP, following 13 votes from the new majority, with Villanueva as the latest addition to the group. Back to you.
Thank you for that report, Hannah T. Malacanang has welcomed the election of Senator Sherwin Gatchalian as Senate President. And the president said he is pleased that both houses of Congress are now ready to carry out their duties. He says priority bills should now be passed into law. Senator Francis Escudero is likely to head the Senate impeachment court. That's according to Senator Ping Lacson. Lacson says his colleagues have agreed in principle to elect Escudero as presiding officer because of his legal training and past experience. But Lacson clarifies that the agreement is still informal and could still change. The chamber is set to reconvene as an impeachment court on July 6, with pre-trial proceedings set to start on Thursday. President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. is in Russia for the ASEAN-Russian Summit. He's also set to hold talks with Russian counterpart Vladimir Putin. Joash Malimban brings us the details from Kazan.
President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. has officially arrived in Kazan, Russia, for the ASEAN-Russia Commemorative Summit, where regional leaders are expected to discuss cooperation and security, trade, energy, food security, and other key areas. Later at 4:30 p.m. in Kazan time, or 9:30 p.m. Manila time, PBBM is expected to hold bilateral talks with Russian President Vladimir Putin. The palace earlier said that discussions between the two leaders will focus on energy and food security matters, as these sectors have been some of the two nations' common beneficial interests. This would include talks on a possible crude oil and fertilizer supply deal, especially as tensions continue to rise amid the U.S.-Iran war.
This visit carries both regional and personal significance. It will be my first time on Russian soil, a journey that I undertake nearly 50 years after my father, President Ferdinand Marcos Sr., made his own historic visit to the then Soviet Union in 1976, which culminated in the establishment of diplomatic relations between our two countries.
Russia has been a full-fledged dialogue partner of the ASEAN since 1976. And as this year's ASEAN chair, President Marcos Jr. said that the Philippines is committed to produce substantive and forward-looking outcomes that will deepen strategic partnership with Russia. This includes regional peace, stability, and shared prosperity.
The Philippines will continue to champion ASEAN unity, centrality, and solidarity, and promote an open, inclusive, and rules-based regional architecture anchored in international law. We will likewise advance ASEAN's engagement with external partners, such as Russia, through the dialogue mechanisms and frameworks that this community has built over many decades. We travel to Kazan with purpose, and we return with renewed commitment to our partnership.
This year's visit also coincides with the 50th anniversary of Russia's and the country's diplomatic relations. Joash Malimban, Bilyonaryo News Channel.
World leaders and their families gathered meanwhile at the G7 summit in France to discuss global issues. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky and his European allies urged support for Ukraine's war effort against Russia. They highlighted Ukraine's recent drone incursions as a sign of improved battlefield position. U.S. President Donald Trump said he would try to help end the Ukrainian war. However, there were few details of any concrete steps to raise the pressure on Moscow.
I spoke with President Putin on Sunday, and it's sort of the same thing. I mean, they just keep going, fighting, losing soldiers. They lose so many soldiers. This is not since World War II has anything like this happened. I settled 8 wars. This was the one I thought was going to be the easiest settled. There's a lot of dislike between the two leaders. Look, Russia should make a deal. Russia's lost tremendous amounts of people, and so has Ukraine.
We're taking a quick break. Coming up, more electric vehicles are hitting the roads every day, but is the country ready to go fully electric? BusinessWorld motoring editor Kap Maceda Aguila joins us next. This is Business 360. Welcome back to Business 360. I'm Apa Ongpin. We used to say that electric cars were the future, but now they're already on the road. It is the future. Is the Philippines ready? We bring in Kap Maceda Aguila, motoring editor of BusinessWorld. Good afternoon, Kap, and welcome to the show.
Good afternoon, and thanks for having me, Apa.
Yeah. The Iran war and the resulting fuel price shock appear to have accelerated interest in electric cars, but beyond this moment, are we really looking at a lasting shift? I mean, let's say this in the context that even some of the world's biggest automakers have said their target is to go fully electric by, some as early as 2030.
All right, now I'm happy that you noted that, because in the past, when I say past, probably the nascent days of the electric vehicle industry, big brands, legacy brands from Europe and elsewhere were already declaring, okay, we will have a hard stop on internal combustion engines, or ICE, because they wanted to quickly shift into electric vehicles. Having said that, in recent years, perhaps because of the market's, let's just say, more realistic view on the transition to electric, and it has been a bumpy one too. It's not like a straightforward shift, right? So these brands have now actually walked back from the edge, so to speak, and now are not putting a hard stop target for their internal combustion engines. What they're doing now is, yes, they're exploring electric vehicles, electrified options, but they are not declaring outright that they will be pulling out of the internal combustion engine market. So,
well, certainly Toyota has said they're not going to be pulling out of the in the internal combustion engine market.
That's true. Actually, during the early days, they were bashed because its now chairman, Akio Toyoda, had famously said that they are not, he refused to comment on whether they're going straight to electric. And they have always maintained what they call a multi-pathway or multi-platform. This will include, of course, battery electric vehicles, but to our point earlier, they will still have internal combustion engines, hybrids, and basically a slew of options.
Yeah.
So right now they're being proven correct because not everyone is quite ready for full electric right away. Although we are seeing, even in our country, an influx of electric vehicle or battery electric vehicle options.
Mm-hmm. Toyota actually was the pioneer with the Prius back in, what was that, 2002 or something?
Yeah, I remember that. And back then, it was sort of a novelty, actually. So people were kind of curious. And also, people were even back then, it was not a full electric vehicle. The Prius, of course, is a hybrid.
Hybrid, yeah.
But back then, people weren't even aware of what a hybrid was. They were actually asking questions like, oh, do I need to charge this? What's the range on this? But, they forget that it's a hybrid, so therefore it charges itself. And but now, here we are. We are actually spoiled with a lot of choices right now, including hybrids. And when you say hybrids, there are also plug-in hybrids, range extenders, and all of these. And I think it speaks to not just a world trying to get to a more sustainable future, but also giving options where these will be viable.
Mm-hmm. So hybrids, I guess we could say, are really driving most of the transition at this point, no? However, the Chinese manufacturers in particular have come in to town with a few, pure battery electric vehicle offerings. And they seem to be doing well. Of course, the volumes are still nothing compared to ICE cars. But EVs kasi are often sold on the promise of lower running costs. But once you factor in the purchase price, charging, insurance, maintenance, and depreciation, is an EV actually cheaper to own over time?
Actually, there have been a number of brands. When I say brands, these are the Chinese brands, particularly those with, as you said, EV offerings. They have done the math on this, and yes, because of the very nature of a battery electric vehicle, which has fewer moving parts. Therefore, you don't need to replace so many parts when you go for your preventive maintenance service.
There's actually almost no consumable parts.
Exactly. Compare that to an ICE where, change oil, so many parts that filters and stuff like that.
Belts.
Belts.
Yeah.
And operation, keeping the vehicle in operation is also a lot cheaper. And they've done the math on this as well, like for charging, vis-a-vis price at the pump. As you mentioned earlier, of course, the increased interest and sales in the hybrid space or even electrified space has been driven by, of course, now range anxiety has been replaced by fuel price anxiety, right?
Yeah.
And so we are seeing this kind of shift also. And this is also borne by figures. Let me cite some figures now. Year to date, for instance, Campi reported year to date, we have sold 137,867 total vehicles. That's actually down from last year's 150,654, year to date, April.
Yeah.
But the percentage of electrified vehicles, which includes the aforementioned hybrids plus your electrics, they have grown, even in absolute numbers. So from last year's year-to-date figure of 6,820, this year, January to April, we've sold 17,655. That's massive growth, plus 158%. And this is on top of everything that's happening to us. It also needs to be said that even without the Middle East crisis, electrified vehicle sales have been on the uptrend. So this just served to sort of even spur sales further. And I've seen that in the way that people have reached out to me, Kap, is this such and such brand, so-and-so brand, is it good? Are electrics good? Will I be served by a full electric vehicle? Will that fit my lifestyle? Stuff like that. So we can see all around, there's really marked spike in interest.
Yeah. just to sort of answer my own question, a few years ago, I actually did a business case study on pure or battery electric vehicles. And I said that given this, this average cost of, if you're commuting 20 kilometers a day, and remember, this was when diesel was 45 pesos a liter.
The good old days.
The good old days. And electricity was maybe 8 pesos per kilowatt hour. No? But basically, because of what was then the low cost of fuel, it would take you 5 years to clear. Diba? And basically everything after that is a bonus na.
Yes.
Right?
That's right.
So the price of the car and the price of fuel and maintenance and all of that stuff, when you compare them, it would take you about 5 years. No? Now, I think with the price of fuel so much higher, it will take you a lot less time to clear that. This is because battery electric vehicles at the time were quite expensive. Huh?
Yes.
I mean, they were really, really mahal compared to even the Prius, which is a hybrid. Was a 2.8 or something, 2.6 million peso car. No? So, compared to a Corolla, it was almost triple the price.
Yeah.
So when we're talking now, it's really hybrids talaga. Looks like hybrids are really leading the transition. It's not the battery electric vehicles.
Yeah, a lot more people are aware and are willing to try them, but I think on the whole, it's hybrids really. And to that point, as a percentage of the electrified vehicles now being sold, hybrids have also been on the uptrend, particularly plug-in hybrids. So you get the best, they say that you get the best of both worlds. You get to plug a battery and you can run quite a ways with using just the electric charge in that battery, as opposed to a hybrid, which actually you get to use more of your internal combustion engine. But maybe the point here is there are so many choices now, so people are really spoiled in the way that they can choose whatever fits their lifestyle and their budget.
What about the resale value of electrified vehicles that we're buying today? What does it look like?
We've heard a lot of news about battery electric vehicles not really holding their value too much, and we can look to the United States, which has a more mature or a longer history in terms of battery electric vehicles. So I guess in the country right now, it still remains to be seen because we all have to understand, of course, that a big percentage of the battery electric vehicles cost is the battery itself.
Right.
Right. And to your point earlier, you said we remember those days, the very early days when everything was so much more costly.
Yeah.
But of course now we have even the government has pitched in with the VIDA law to help the industry along, help the transition along. Also, technology has made it so that brands are able to manufacture batteries that will enable the car to travel further while keeping the costs low. It's a natural trajectory of technology, right?
And also last longer, no?
Yes.
I remember the original Prius. They gave it a battery life originally. Toyota was very conservative and said, look, the battery will last 8 years, so you'll have to replace it after 8 years. But it turned out that those batteries lasted twice that long, until maybe 15 years. And now they're saying batteries will last 20 years.
Oh yeah, I don't doubt that. And it also, speaking of batteries, it also sort of boils down to responsible ownership. Like we've heard throughout this journey, if you will, that, for instance, when you have a battery electric vehicle, you never charge it, you never top it up to 100% unless you need to go on a long drive. So the sweet spot would be 20 to 80%, meaning pag 80% na, then you charge it, And then when it's 20%, then you charge it only up to 80%. So you sort of maintain the health of your battery and enable it to serve you for a longer time.
Yeah.
So there's stuff like that right now, in which again speaks to the maturity of our market.
Okay. For battery electric vehicles, charging is so important. Let's talk about charging. We only have about 900 public charging stations today, which is, a fraction of the 7,000 that we want to have by 2028. Are we selling electric cars faster than we can build a network to support them, or battery electric vehicles?
There's two ways to answer that. Number one would be no. Let's get real about this one, because as maybe one of the biggest factors that is keeping people from going full electric right away is, of course, range anxiety.
Yeah.
However, newer technologies that we've been talking about enable the cars to go a lot further now these days. And think of your average week, right? The commute. Let's say an average person would probably commute from the office, from the home to the office and then back again. Definitely not more than 50 kilometers, right? So
I'd say the average is actually lower than 20.
Much lower. Yeah. And the range on these things are like crazy now. Like you have range extended vehicles going up to 1,000 kilometers. Even 600 kilometers for a battery electric vehicle, that's already pretty good, actually.
Yeah, and it exceeds many internal combustion engine ranges.
Yeah, that's true. I think the challenge is, that's why we need these public charging infrastructures, is that a lot of us, quite a lot of us, myself included, we live in condominiums. And usually condominiums do not have the capacity, or they don't have chargers. So some are able to retrofit their condominium with, let's say, a charger or two, but still for the majority they will have to rely on public charging. And
yes or no? I mean, the home charger, because there are two kinds of chargers, right? There's the fast charger and there's the home charger.
The AC and the DC, yes.
So the home charger is very, very small, and it plugs into, an everyday outlet, no? As long as it's good for, 20 amps. So, and of course it charges much more slowly. But my friends who own pure battery electric vehicles, I have a couple, they said, I don't have this problem, because I don't go far and I just leave it charging all night, diba?
Do they get range anxiety? Was there, like, if they go out of town, do you feel like they hesitate?
They just don't go out of town.
Okay, well, that's one way to solve it.
Yeah, one guy doesn't, if he's going to go out of town, he'll take a bus. The other guy has an ICE car, and that's what he uses to come to Manila, because he lives in Lipa. No? So he uses the battery electric vehicle around Batangas lang. No? So his range is, maybe 30 kilometers in a day. So, diba? So.
And that's sort of the recurring, that's a common story actually, because earlier in some companies have done studies, and they've seen that battery electric vehicle owners, the BEVs aren't actually their first car. So it's rare for a household to have a battery electric vehicle, or solely a battery electric vehicle.
Exactly.
For that very reason, right?
Yeah.
Like if you're going like city, no problem, short range, short drives, errands, why not? But when, on the occasional out of towner, you'd be best served by your ICE car.
Yeah. Exactly. There's now a flood of brands and models competing for Filipino buyers. From your perspective, what separates the companies that are genuinely committed to this market from those who are only in it for the fad?
Okay. We see a number of brands, a couple of brands actually, that have, you can see their actions are, very big ones. Meaning, when I say big, they really sink a lot of investment into the country.
Yeah.
You have one from China that I can think of. Of course, you know this brand, and there's another one from Vietnam, and they're pretty serious about capturing that space. And I think common to the how they are doing it is that they are also not just looking at selling cars, but they are actively pursuing the rollout or the development of an infrastructure as far as charging points go. So I think that's the way. That's one of the reasons why I think they're very serious about it, as opposed to probably some maybe just riding the wave. I mean, particularly after the Middle East war, right?
Yeah.
You get all of the opportunities brought about by that. But the companies that I'm alluding to, of course, they have said many times that they want to roll out charging infrastructure so that everyone's basically covered. Not just the people we're talking about, like, I just want to go out on a drive in the city.
Yeah.
So I think yes, there are a couple, and also now that we're talking about that, even the legacy brands like the Toyotas that you mentioned, even Suzuki, they have rolled out battery electric vehicles as well. And that speaks to how they see the market now as being ready for that. These will, of course, not be volume drivers. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. But it is crucial enough for them to be in this segment, perhaps. They see the promise there.
Okay. Do you feel government policy is keeping pace with the market? Beyond tax breaks and lower tariffs, what's still missing from the Philippine EV ecosystem?
I've asked a number of executives here about what else our government needs to do. Of course, the tariff breaks and such are welcome. But
that tariff break was really fought for. Huh?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Toyota for years was saying, "Oy, give us a break on this Prius," because it was pricing it out of the market.
That's true. So, yeah, exactly. But kulang pa eh. As I've spoken to executives, they say some more needs to be done. Some more work needs to be done on the ground to sort of achieve parity. And when I say parity, that includes, of course, the infrastructure, the charging infrastructure. Because let's face it, as long as the charging infrastructure does not mirror the fossil fuel station infrastructure, then of course people will still want to choose the ICE because it's so easy to get gas anywhere, right? Shouldn't
the fuel retailers be taking the lead on this and offering charging at gas stations?
Some have, but I don't know what goes on. But some have actually. I can think of a few big brands that have opened charging points within gas stations. But there are also other. I've heard some misgivings, like it may be dangerous to have both a charging point and a fuel pump close to each other. And there's even an executive who said, I'm not gonna mix my my fuel pumps with an electric vehicle charge point and then have some random brand explode. That's also about.
Yeah, but if you're a gas, one of those mega stations and stuff like that, you've got, Starbucks and McDonald's with open flame, right? In the same place. Surely there's not. And how many cases have there been really of electric cars actually blowing up while charging? How many?
That's true.
Well, come on. It's an urban legend. It's a myth.
Yes. But having said that, probably one of the misgivings also is that it's a lot quicker to refill your tank than to recharge a battery.
Yeah, of course.
So as from the consumer side, then that may be one of also the challenges. But yeah, as in other things, I think government support needs to be there in a more comprehensive way, because we've seen how it works in other countries, even within the ASEAN region. So we continue to hope. But I think for now, this sort of multi-pathway that Toyota espouses is actually a recipe that works even for other brands.
Okay. Well, finally, for someone who's EV curious and can afford one, what should they examine before buying? Any mistakes to avoid?
Always do your research, I guess. That's the first one. I know there are a lot of newer brands in the market right now, and a lot of them have very nice cars.
Yeah.
So one would be test drive, then do your due diligence on the internet or whatever, research, and find out if a battery electric vehicle, period, suits your lifestyle.
Yeah.
As I mentioned earlier, do you live in a single detached home where you can easily install a charger? Or do you live in one of the condominiums that your condo corp will not allow you to have a, let's say, an extension cord or whatnot? So I think the key here is there will be a bit of a lifestyle change if you go battery electric vehicle. But if you're ready for the sort of discipline, I'd call it discipline, like the discipline of charging our phones, right?
Yeah.
Then it may be for you. But again, at the end of the day, it will be down to your taste or readiness for the format. And yes, do your math as well. We were talking about it earlier. I do. Personally, I'm tempted actually because of the lesser operational cost. But the lifestyle change or the habit change may not be suitable for someone like me yet, because I said I live in a condo. So.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you very much. Let's do that study.
Oh yeah.
Let me rehash my old study, and then you can
Please.
put it in BusinessWorld. Diba?
Sige.
Thank you, Kap Maceda Aguila. More stories when we return. Business 360. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Business 360. I'm Apa Ongpin. House Majority Leader Sandro Marcos has hit back at reports that funds and aid were withheld from General Santos City in connection with the recent earthquake. Batangas 1st District Representative Leandro Leviste claimed that the district of General Santos Rep. Sherlyn Banyas Nograles received zero additional money, along with other forms of aid. Leviste says this was because Nograles voted no on the impeachment of Vice President Sara Duterte. Sandro says the House has officially extended assistance to all areas affected by the earthquake in Mindanao, General Santos included. Senator Camille Villar has spoken out against allegations that she and Senator Mark Villar meddled in the LRT-1 extension project in Cavite. Villar firmly denied the claims, saying she's ready to face any fair investigation. Ombudsman Jesus Crispin Remulla earlier alleged the Villars wanted the railway routed through C5 Road in Las Piñas, where the family owns property. In other news, the Philippine government is returning to the international bond market to raise at least $1.5 billion through U.S. dollar bonds. The Bureau of the Treasury said the offering includes 5.5-year, 10-year, and 25-year bonds. It's the government's second bond sale this year after raising $2.75 billion back in January. Officials say improving market conditions and strong investor demand helped time the sale. The government is also looking at issuing retail treasury bonds later this year. K-pop powerhouse BTS is adding another concert date to its upcoming Philippines stop. BTS will now have a third concert night at the Philippine Arena in Bulacan. It will be on March 16, 2027. And general ticket sales open on June 20, while membership pre-sale begins a day earlier on June 19. Tickets for the two other nights, March 14 and 15, sold out in 30 minutes. And that's Business 360. We'll keep tracking the moves that matter across markets, policy, and the economy. I'm Apa Ongpin. Thank you for joining us. Keep it here on BNC, the Bilyonaryo News Channel.